Tell me, were you Sean Pollock, Kagiso
All-rounder,
Rabada,
all-rounder.
Jacques Callas? Where were you at?
All-rounder.
Where can we place you?
I'd say Jacques Callas.
Jacques Callas,
Yes,
my man.
if I had to pick.
Hey,
Nowhere near his
that's a big
capabilities.
comparison.
I can't do no small talk, no small talk. I'm not with the small talk. Can't be with the small talk.
What's up, Five Nation? I hope that you guys are doing well. Welcome to yet another unscripted episode. This one is with myself, Aaron Masemola, and I'm joined by Sianzo. Now, he's a sales and mindset specialist, and he basically specializes in the areas where he helps individuals and companies actually perform at their highest level. He's also the founder of Sia Cells, and apparently at some point in his life, he was set to make his Proteas debut. He's apparently a phenomenal cricketer, I suppose. Sia, my brother, how are you doing?
I'm great, Aaron, and yourself?
I'm doing very, very well, my brother. Listen, when I met you for the first time, I realized again that I'm quite short and I'm quite small. You are like 195.
On a good day.
On a good day?
On a good day.
On a bad day?
195.
195, it doesn't change.
It doesn't
Nah,
change.
man, you're an absolutely big individual. You're a giant of a man. When I heard the possibility that at some point in your journey, you were set to play for the Proteas, let's call it that. I mean, you were one of the most promising youngsters in Gauteng.
Gauteng,
And
yes.
then, I mean, there was a possibility to play for the Proteas.
Well, I had just started playing for Easterns, which is just under, it's provincial. And, life happens, brittle bones, growth spurts, my knees gave up on me, and yeah, that's where it ended.
Yeah.
And I was, massively into sports. That's the biggest thing. So I was crushed. I couldn't play a lot of sports anymore.
So why cricket instead of rugby? Given your size, I would automatically assume that rugby would be the option.
Well, I grew up I'm from Davidson originally, and I went to school in Benoni. It's not a big rugby town. There was soccer, the traditional soccer, cricket, and being a sportsman, I had to choose a few of the ones that I really like, and I gravitated towards cricket. I think my love for cricket actually stems from my first watching a match where I think I was about 5 years old, and I just saw people coming out with pads and a helmet and a bat.
Yeah.
So it had a uniform. It felt a bit like war. So I was
There's
like, okay,
structure.
this is a sport that I think
Yeah.
I'd actually enjoy. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Davidson. I mean, umfana se Davidson
Yebo.
and umfana se
Phakathi.
Kasi, And
Inside.
it's almost like you being a gen from Davidson associated with playing cricket. And I know what that means in our community. Sometimes it's like, yeah, man, why are you playing cricket?
100%. And the funny thing is with cricket, it's not something that you can conceal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like having just soccer boots in your bag. You have a whole talk bag filled with stuff. So wherever you're walking, people are asking, okay, why you have such a big bag? Now you've got to show our bats. But I think it was well received by virtue of they could see that I was doing well, and I actually took a bit of that, what I'd learned at school, and started coaching some of my friends, my colleagues, and we started playing cricket. My father actually is a big avid cricketer, and in the streets he would teach us how to bat, how to bowl.
The basic drive,
the
cover
drive.
drive.
Oh yes, how to spin the ball. So my love for cricket, it actually stems from my dad, and I mean, growing up, as you said, as a black child in Davidson, playing what is generally a white sport, you get weird looks, but once they know the people that you also roll with, if I can put it that way, it kind of balances out. Yeah.
Tell me, were you Sean Pollock, Kagiso
All-rounder,
Rabada,
all-rounder.
Jacques Callas? Where were you at?
All-rounder.
Where can we place you?
I'd say Jacques Callas.
Jacques Callas,
Yes,
my man.
if I had to pick.
Hey.
Nowhere near his
That's a big
capabilities.
comparison.
Well, you put the options in front of me, and I'll choose Jacques Callas any day.
Perfect. Let's talk about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
You work in a space where you harness the potential of others.
Oh, yes.
And for people like myself who absolutely love sports, that's usually an easy area to go to. You're like, I'm talented in this area. And that's why we love sports. That's why we do so well in sports, especially at a young age. Take me back to a point where you realize that I'm gifted in this area.
Oof, wow. Okay, then I think the time it happened for me in 2015. 2015, working in sales, wasn't the greatest salesperson to begin with. Working for one of South Africa's biggest insurance companies. Started working there in 2013, and I nearly got fired 3 times in my first 15 months in terms of performance and not reaching targets and so forth. So I had prior to starting in that in that job for this financial institution, I'd been in 7 other positions in the previous 3 years. Now, I had to ask myself a question, which was a painful question to ask, which is, how have I contributed to where I am? And it became very evident that part of me jumping or moving from one position to another, or from one company to another company, is a lot to do with me and how I saw people around me, the system, the prices of the things I was selling, so on and so forth. But I had to ask myself a question, why is someone else doing very well at this particular thing? So in 2015, I made a decision after failing and not doing so well for about 2 years. I made a decision to invest in myself. And you were saying before that, motivational videos. So I started going on YouTube and just asking the question on YouTube, how do I become a better salesperson? And that led me to strategies on sales, yes, but also led me to motivation, or more motivational speaking, or speakers who speak on motivation and being a better person. And it resonated with me. And when I took on that information for myself and applied it on my own life, things changed for me. And, it makes me a little bit emotional, because a lot of people have got the resources to better themselves, but a lot of us don't. But in 2015, I made this decision, and then I started talking about what I've learned in those videos to my friends, literally the person sitting next to me on the same phone as me. And I just started seeing people around me do better and get better, and they'd come back for these chats. Hey, see, man, I'm feeling like this. Hey, isn't das hambi kahle? Like, what's going on? How do I? And just through talking, I was okay. It started making sense to me. And a lot of us, we have. It's very hard to find a purpose, and my purpose, literally, I found it. It landed on me. It found me, pretty much.
Absolutely beautiful. When you spoke about watching those videos, that spoke directly to me, because I went through the exact same process. You find yourself in a sporting setup where you have an external person that comes in to motivate you. And I found myself actually, after that person had left, when I was feeling down,
Right.
I would go into YouTube and look for motivational videos and motivate myself like that every single day.
100%.
And I loved what you mentioned as well, is that almost those talks become a part of your DNA.
Yes.
And you carry that philosophy,
Yes.
and you share it with those around you. And that's
100.
exactly what you did with the individuals that you worked with. Let's talk about mindsets,
Yes.
and you referring to yourself as a mindset specialist. What exactly does that mean?
So a mindset specialist is someone, and this actually ties in with a bit of my coaching on all levels, whether it's life coaching, sales coaching, is a mindset specialist mindset is firstly the foundation for success. If your mind is not right, there's no way that you can perform at a high level in sports, in your professional life, and even more so with the relationships that you have with your friends and family. Because it's all it's perception. Mindset is perception. Now, mindset specialist is, I help people. Let's talk about people, individuals. I help people to understand where they are, their current state, and where they want to be, their desired state. A mindset specialist helps you to understand where you are and how where you are, if you continue doing the things that you do, what is it going to mean for you in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, and in the future. So to answer your question, it's mostly about helping people realize how they feel, where they are, and from that base, or from that foundation, now we can build the desired state or the desired house, or and the size of it is as well. It's very broad, but in essence, that's exactly what I do.
Where does a mindset specialist fall in the spectrum of counseling, psychology, and a therapist? Because I often think that most of us, when we hear those terms, it becomes something that we want to push away.
Yes.
We're like, I don't want to see a counselor.
Therapist, yeah.
I don't want to see a therapist. Oh my God, I don't have a problem. You know? So to me, when you talk about a mindset specialist, it speaks directly to success. It speaks directly to what I want. But now a part of me is like, am I also crazy? Am I also in the spectrum of needing to see a counselor?
Yes.
Therapist?
So, I mean, in terms of spectrum, I am not a medical professional. And I stress that to any one of my clients and the people that I speak to. I'm in no way a medical professional. So if you had to go top down in terms of the spectrum, how I see it, this is my own personal view, it would be a psychologist and a psychiatrist at the very top, because they obviously study. A psychiatrist dispenses medicine, so they would be top, then a psychologist. I don't know if it's the other way around, but so it'd be psychologist, psychiatrist, then there would be a therapist, which is also a learned skill, or you have to go to school or college or university. Then we look at a counselor, then things like a social worker, and then a life coach. The only reason why I put a life coach at the bottom is because anyone can be a coach. Okay, I've studied to be a life coach and to be certified as being a certified life coach, which we don't have many of in South Africa, which is a bit of an issue. But I'm only putting it there by virtue of the things that you need to be a coach is much less than what you would need and the time that you'd spend to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. But its impact for me, in my view, is the other way around. So when you flip that whole triangle around, is I would put a life coach at the top by virtue of a life coach doesn't look at what has happened in the past. I'm not concerned about what happened to you in the past in terms of your trauma, your experiences, the good or the bad that you've been through. I look at you from where you are. You would remember that I said your current state and your desired state. So as a life coach, what I do is I meet people where they are. I meet you where you are. Yes, you're Aaron Masemola, the award-winning broadcaster, but if I'm in a coaching session with you, I don't see you as Aaron Masemola, the award-winning broadcaster. I see you as Aaron Masemola. And Aaron Masemola right now might be feeling happy. 30 minutes from now might be feeling sad. So wherever you are at that point of our conversation or of our meeting is where I need to meet you. So I won't come with a high energy and you're sad and I'm always here. It just doesn't make any sense. We won't gel and there won't be any rapport specifically. So a life coach is someone that helps people without medicine and outside of the scope of trauma to help people to advance their life. Most of my clients and organizations that I work with is they want to get to a certain place and they don't know. There's a block, there's a gap. You know when people say things like, I don't know what to do.
I don't know where to start.
I don't know where to start, 100%. And I help people and organizations to just unlock that. And a lot of the time, once you've unlocked it, it allows fresh ideas come. And now you're fully in it and you're able to find your feet and find a way and navigate around getting to where it is that you want to be.
Definitely.
Excuse me.
Some of the critics might say that what you do is somewhat similar to a motivational video on YouTube, you know, and you just need an accountability partner, you know, to motivate you through the journey. What would you say to those critics? Why is your role as a coach so important on a day-to-day basis, encouraging that person to move from where they currently are to the desired dream that they want to live?
I think the biggest thing in relation to that is a motivational speaker or a video on YouTube is general. It doesn't speak to where I am at this present point in time. You could have a few videos that have a common thread to what it is that you're experiencing and you can draw from that information. But the turnaround time of getting to where it is that you want to be might be a little bit longer, because now you're relying solely on what it is that you do, or what the videos that you watch, and applying them on your life. I see it a lot like a trainer, personal trainer. If you want to be good, and if you want to start seeing results quicker, you have a personal trainer that's with you for a month, twice a week, for example. They teach you exercises, help you on your form, motivate you, wake you up, come, let's go to the gym. They track your performance, they track your weights, how much you've lost. And after that month, a lot of the personal trainers will say, okay, cool, you go for the next 2 months or for the next month doing this. Then when you're ready to ramp up to the next stage, then you come back to me, and then you go to the next stage, and I'll show you harder exercises, so on and so forth. That's exactly what I do, but for the mind.
My man. I love that. I'd like to go a little bit deeper with what you're talking about. We're talking about mindset, and we're almost talking about harnessing your inner potential.
Yes.
One of the biggest challenges that young people are dealing with in 2023 is a big word as depression.
Yes.
And mental health issues. We see it in sport, we see it in business, we see it in our social circles as well. And if I feel an emotion or an experience from the past almost hindering me and saying I'm not worthy,
Hundreds.
how can I deal with that? If I feel a sense of being anxious about the future, will I get a job? Will I graduate? Will I be what my parents want me to be? How do I deal with those things? Because I do believe that there are skills and techniques that one can apply in those moments that can just almost change your state or your physiology, as you just mentioned.
120%. So the first thing is, it doesn't happen the first time. Nothing works one time. You can't do anything once and be good at it. So a lot of people might say, I've had a life coaching session, or I've done this thing and it's not working for me. And I always remind people, have you ever gone to the gym once and seen results? The answer is no.
Definitely.
So it's a constant thing, right? Your life is like a car. Our experiences are like a car. If you don't pour petrol into the car, you can't expect to drive your car from here to Durban.
No way.
It's impossible. Or from here to Cape Town. It's impossible. Somewhere, somehow, you have to stop and refuel. Right. Now, in that sense, if we are only looking at, I need to do this thing once and get a result, you'll never get there. So first things first is understanding that you're on a journey. We're on a journey. Everything that I do and say today is somehow going to affect what happens and what's going to happen in the future. Now, in terms of techniques, so the biggest technique and the best technique that I can speak of, and I use regularly with my clients, is the grounding technique. Now, grounding, if you're an electric person or someone who deals with voltage, is if your wire is not grounded, you can get electrical shock from an appliance. So it has to be grounded, right? Now, that's what grounding is. Grounding, it stops the electricity or the bad electricity of life from affecting you and shocking you. So by grounding, a grounding exercise is, if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling depressed, it starts with the base, which is you sit in a room, you put your feet firmly down, you sit in a comfortable upright position, you put your hands on your knees, close your eyes, and you breathe. And you breathe. Literally 4 seconds or 4 counts in and 6 counts out. So I'll give you an example. It's a And if I had to do that exercise with you now for 2 minutes, you'll find yourself, after the 2 minutes, you find yourself smiling, energized. And a lot of the time is by virtue of these 2 states, living outside of your current zone, all you're doing is you're focusing all of your energy and your your laser, you're focusing into now. And while I'm breathing, now I can, so once I've calmed down and I feel a bit energized, because oxygen energizes us, right? Once I understand this, or once I'm in this state now I can ask myself, how do I feel? What am I feeling? And once I understand, okay, I'm feeling anger. Okay, why am I feeling anger?
It's almost as though you are now removing the emotion from the situation, and you are dissecting what you are feeling at that exact point.
100%.
Where sometimes we almost operate from a state of panic and we never actually deal with the actual issue.
We 120%. So we deal with things from a state of panic and also from a state of habit. So habitually we do things. When this happens, I do this. When this happens, I do this. I said that I changed 7 jobs in 3 years. And the point of realization of how did I change 3 jobs was me to first reflect and find that I'm the issue here. The common denominator in these 8 jobs that I've had now over the 4 years is me. So in this grounding exercise where you sit yourself down, and this is what you're doing, you're actually sitting your mind down. You're telling your mind to sit down. I was about to swear. You tell your mind to sit down, shut up, and be here. Then once you've relaxed now, and this is what I do as a life coach, is I help you. So initially it takes a trainer to get you to where you want to be, right? So I ask you these questions verbally. How do you feel? Why do you feel? What do you feel? When do you feel? So those questions, when you become outside of the coaching remit, after I've had a session with you, now I give you a plan, a reflection tool, whether you're going to write things down you're going to write things down. And I say, before you do your reflection, ground yourself. And you do that for 5 minutes. Then it gives you greater clarity. You're energized to do this exercise for 10, 15 minutes. Now you start writing down exactly what you're feeling, or start realizing what you're feeling, why you're feeling. And if you know why you're feeling a certain way, and if it's a negative emotion, now I can deal with that thing. I'm angry because I had a fight with my partner. Okay, can I do something about it? I can apologize if I'm in the wrong, or I can say, listen, how I spoke to you in that argument was not right, and I apologize for. I still feel how I feel, but I'm sorry that I said some of the things that I said. Your partner says, I'm sorry too. I also came at this in this particular way. I had a bad day. Automatically, when you say sorry, we'll speak later on, that anger that you felt that was directed from an experience that you had in the morning now dissipates. Now I'm smiling. Now I'm not projecting my anger onto the people that are around me, or my circumstances, or my work even, or negatively affecting my work.
One of the challenges that a lot of young people are dealing with is the issue of unemployment, and it speaks to almost not necessarily having opportunities, having access to opportunities. And what I love about what you talk about is skills and techniques that can help liberate the mind, right? But you also have a sales background.
Oh, yes.
Would you say that entrepreneurship combined with the right mindset, combined with the right skills, is the path to almost liberating the youth that we're seeing in South Africa?
Yes and no. Yes, by virtue of entrepreneurship is vital because an economy grows through small and medium enterprises. It doesn't go through big business because they have budgets. Anyone, unless they're having a massive scaling, but most big businesses will remain big. New opportunities are in entrepreneurship, starting your own thing or working with people, and you start generating some funds. But that said, I come from a call center background. Okay, a large part of my experience is around call centers. And I read an interesting statistic. It said 62% of formal workers start in a call center.
Sure.
Somewhere, somehow, you answer the phone, you're an admin, you are in customer services, 62% of the working class now started some form in a call center. Now, so entrepreneurship is one way. It's the harder way and it's the harder route in order to deal with unemployment. But in my line of work and having dealt with many young people, on average 23-year-olds, what I've come to see and understand is that a lot of those kids come into the work environment. A lot of those youth, they come into the work environment and they expect it to be sunshine and roses. They don't necessarily, or they've not had the experience of someone telling them that you're wrong. What you're doing is not right. I want you to do it in this manner. And if you do it in this manner, you're going to get this result. So they might have had a teacher, but a teacher is one period a day that I'm dealing with this particular teacher. Now, because I'm grown, you come into this space and I've got a job. You come into the space with this air of, hey man, I can, and it rocks you. It's rocking a lot of our youth. And it's not to say that the people in these places or in the places of work are right. They're dealing with the youth the way that people dealt with them.
Yes.
So they grew up in a stick-hitting philosophy. So when a new person comes in, what they know and their default base is to hit with a stick.
That tough love approach.
Now, in this world that we're currently in, dealing with millennials, generation X and Z and so on and so forth, we're a little bit softer than our parents. Our parents were softer than their parents. Our grandparents were softer. So we are generally becoming softer. And I say softer in that, I say soft not in a negative manner, but soft is we're starting to realize more how our emotions relate to our performance or relate to our lives. So yes, in terms of unemployment, we can go entrepreneurially and get more people starting businesses and hiring other people, but we've got a bigger place to play in the formal work sector. How do we help these young people coming into this new environment? The same way that in university you have orientation. There's an orientation that happens in university. Even in primary school, there's an orientation, and they gradually increase your workload up until you get to finish the exam and go to the next grade. But in the workplace, we don't have that.
Very true.
You get trained, and the training is to prepare you for the work. There's the technical aspect of the work, but you don't get trained and told and taught that in this work you're going to see some 4-letter words.
Some challenges. Let's call them challenges.
And I have Aaron, I have many people who say, I'm leaving this job because I'm working. So black youth who are living in townships, in Davidson, in Soweto, in Diepkloof, in Alex, saying to me, I am quitting my job because I'm working for transport. And that conversation, there's many people who had jobs who are not fired, who, when they came into the job, they didn't take it seriously by virtue of, I feel I'm not getting paid enough. This is your first job, remember. I feel I'm not getting paid enough. Therefore, I make 2,000 rands. I spend 1,500 rands on transport. It's not enough. I only have 500 rands for the rest of the month. Not understanding that experience is what's going to get you the job that's going to get you 5,000 rands. And the experience at a 5,000 rand job is going to allow you to earn a 15,000 rand salary. And the 15,000 rand salary is going to, you understand? Because we live in this, I want it now. I want to see the results now.
Instant gratification.
Thank you.
If I may come in there, do you think that the youth, to a large degree, are entitled? They feel that they deserve the 25K or the 30K from that first job?
Yes. And guess what? You don't get 25,000 as a first job unless you're highly skilled, which means you have to go to university. That's also work. Or you go into places such as sales that allow you to earn a base salary, and dependent on your efforts, you earn the 25,000. Now, there's a large disparity between what people want and what people are willing to work for. So that disparity, I feel I should earn 25,000, okay, but if I can tell you how to earn 25,000, but guess what? I need you to work 16 hours a day.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
but I want to earn 25,000.
Yeah.
So once again, it's those conversations that need to happen, and we need to speak about to the people that are around us. We need to speak about it in the workplace. We need to speak about it to our nephews and nieces, and they need to understand, and they need to start understanding that what they're learning now is preparing them for the future. The same way that when they're going to work, what they do now is preparing them for the future and their desired state or their desired goal. Yeah.
Let's talk about confidence.
Yes.
I think we've all been in a situation where you walk into a space and you feel that imposter syndrome,
Yes.
growing on your back a little bit. And it's almost like you say to yourself that I'm not worthy. I don't belong here. I feel as though I'm going to be exposed. Even though you might be skilled, qualified
Sure.
to be in the room, you might not have the confidence or the self-belief to carry yourself in a certain way. I know that you also coach in the space as well. How do we build that skill that is confidence?
So I'll ask you this question: When do you generally have that imposter syndrome or that imposter feeling?
Usually when it's something new, something that I haven't done before, something that I don't have experience in.
100%. So that's exactly what it is. It's that living in the future of, when I do this thing, the people might receive me in this particular manner, and you always lean towards the worst of it and not the best. You don't necessarily go into something new and say, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to 4-letter word this thing up. You understand? We generally don't say that, or we don't do that. We go with the, what if they don't like me? What if I make a mistake? It's all the negative stuff. All right. Now, so there's a technique that I teach to people, which is called anchoring. Now, I'm not going to go too much into it, but what anchoring is it incorporates a bit of the grounding that I spoke about. So you sit down, you close your eyes, you breathe in and you breathe out, right? Now, within that anchor, or the anchoring session or that anchoring practice or exercise, what you do is you start replaying or reliving a moment in your life when you were confident. Okay. Now, when you're reliving this particular experience, you're not reliving it or thinking about it or imagining it as an outside thing. So you're not like a spotlight looking at this thing from the outside. No. You actually are in that particular event or that time when you felt the most confident, right? We all have that. There's no one that can tell me that you've never felt confidence. It's impossible. So once I have that picture, that positive picture replaying in my mind, and you replay it, what you then do is you anchor that particular feeling or that how you feel, because your physiology will say, like, literally, I've done this exercise with someone who's slouched, and then by the end of the exercise, they're sitting up straight. Their chin is up, their chest is out.
Their physiology
has changed 100%. So when you anchor now, it's taking a physical thing. I generally say physical thing, like a watch or something that I wear. I generally wear a necklace. Excuse me. So I anchor this emotion to this thing. To this necklace, let's say a necklace or a watch, or let's say these beads. So as I'm living in this particular experience, I'm putting all of the feeling into these beads, right? So now these beads are confidence. They are a physical representation of how I felt at the time when I was most confident or doing that confident thing that I was doing. So now as I'm going into this new environment, the scary environment where I'm not so confident, I now physically am embodying that confidence that came from the experience that I had before. So generally, I'd have a bead. I wear a necklace. So within the coaching sessions, we test how it feels. So now, when you hold this thing, eventually you'll hold it and you'll smile.
It becomes automatic. So now I need that confidence. Okay. So you anchor. The feeling to that
the
object.
feeling to that object.
Would you say it's equivalent to, for example, something as silly as having a lucky pair of underwear?
100%.
Or having that cap that you always wear to the game because you win the bets when you're wearing that cap.
So that exactly, it's 100% one. It's exactly that, by virtue of that, those lucky trousers or that lucky cap is as a result of an incident that happened while you're wearing that cap.
Yes.
Right? So I was wearing this cap and and Manchester United. Manchester United won.
Carabao Cup.
Yes.
First
Tin
trophy
cup.
in 6 years.
Tin cup. Yes, it's fine. Tin cup. Mickey Mouse cup.
I'm glad we agree on this.
My Manchester United scored 5 goals when I was wearing this. The next week, I watched another game with a lesser team and we lost. I'm like, what was I doing? I was wearing my cap. Then I wear the cap in anticipation that maybe it was this cap. And then the team wins 3-0 again. And that just reinforces what you think you know about this cap. Now it becomes your lucky cap. So all I'm doing is taking that exact same, or what we do is we take the exact same principle, but we now aligning that focus to what it is that could help you in your day-to-day life.
Beautiful. What is your message to the youth as we wrap up this conversation?
Sure.
I think for me, the most important part of what I take away from this is so often we push mental health issues to the side, right? And we want to be our best self. And one thing I'm acknowledging in this moment is that it's important to acknowledge certain aspects
Oh, yes.
of yourself.
Definitely.
For example, the depression. For example, the feeling of me not being good enough. But there are skills and there are techniques that one can implement on a day-to-day basis to enhance your life, to move towards a better place. What would you say to somebody who is currently in this moment as they are hearing and watching this conversation,
Right.
feeling that they might not be good enough, feeling as though their friends have progressed further than where they are, feeling as though that I don't have the resources in this moment to make my dreams come alive? I would love for you, with all your titles and all your qualifications, but most importantly, as Sia, the individual, to speak directly to that person.
And thank you for that, Aaron. I think there's I or anyone in this world is not a title. If anyone is leading with a title, they're doing it out of, or they saying it out of an ego, out of I want to see a reaction from you. I'm Sia. I so happen as Sia to be very good at sales. I so happen to enjoy helping people, and it just so happens that helping people understand their greatest potential is actually me. So it's full circle. What I can say in terms of to people that are feeling that way, and whenever I say this, people roll their eyes, is be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. There are no positives from constantly whipping yourself. No good will ever come out of it. And I speak to high performance people who are constantly pushing the envelope, and I've reached my target, but I can do more. I reached my target, but I can do more. I've done this, but I can do X. You're good enough. You may not necessarily feel that you're good enough, but you are. Every single one of us has God's talents. And the problem or the issue that we have is a lot of things that happen in life, they start to turn the volume down on the things that we do well. So instead of listening, the fact that I'm great at speaking to people, someone said, you're a bad speaker. And I take that person's perception, I make it my reality, and I turn the speaking down. And that very same person says, you might be good in X. So I start doing that thing instead of doing the thing that I know I'm good at. So you're good enough. You matter. Everything that is happening to you is preparing you for the next thing. Every single thing, the good and the bad that is happening to you now, is preparing you for the next thing. A plant doesn't grow in the open air in the sun. Before it grows, it goes into the dirt in the dark. We plant a seed not knowing if that seed is going to sprout, but we plant it in the hope that it will sprout. And that's our lives. Is if you take yourself from where you are with your talents, with the knowledge that you're good enough, with the knowledge that I'm not going to beat myself up, with the knowledge that there's a lot more things that you can be grateful for. If you started just talking about your gratitude and things that are happening, the fact I've got 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 hands, I can go on and on and on about my physiology firstly. Now, if you're good enough, you're valid, gratitude is important. Look at what you have and be grateful for it. And then finally is, once you know what it is that you want, start working to get it. There's nothing worse than wanting something and then sitting on your hands and hoping that it's going to magic itself and appear.
Absolutely love that last point. At some point, we as the youth, we as individuals need to stand up and we need to start doing.
Yes.
It's all great and it's all amazing to have a great mindset, to have all of these amazing feelings, but we have to start doing. We have to start executing.
Action.
Sia, my brother, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you for joining
awesome.
me, and thank you for the amazing work that you continue to do to empower the youth and to just change their mind, because at the end of the day, that's quite a powerful tool that we sometimes forget. Thank you so much.
I think in closing, I forgot to say that part of the reason why I started doing what I did in terms of sales is I asked myself a question. A statement is, I wanted to become the leader that I wish I had when I wasn't doing well. So wherever you are, wherever we are, is a good place to start. Everyone can start from where they are and get to where they want to be.
Beautiful.
But thank you for the opportunity. I think this was absolutely awesome, and hopefully we can do it again
Soon.
Thanks,
my brother.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
This is 5